Welcome back. If it has joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The Nigerian Air Force reaffirms its commitment to stop all forms of criminal activities in the country. Baramatu community accuses the army of invading its community as the army refutes annexation claims. Nigeria joins the global commemoration of the World Environment Day. And about 26,000 homes are without power in Australia's east coast due to torrential rain and high winds. Do remember that all our top stories you can find on our websites, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on a mobile device and download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. We do encourage you to please interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, please tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Speaking of which, here are a few pictures that you sent into our Eyewitness portal. But let's begin with this one. It's a picture sent in from Zango Okene Road in Kogi State, showing the scene of an accident. The accident allegedly was due to the bad road in the area. Next is this image also of an accident from Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It shows a scene of an accident, but according to Eyewitness reporter, it was due to overspeeding. We do hope the lady in the picture and all the passengers are all right. Our next picture comes from Bagada area of Lagos State. We're seeing children and residential buildings under high-tension cables. Our Eyewitness reporters raising concern that this is dangerous and ask for immediate action by relevant authorities. Still in Lagos, the very dangerous move we see there, two men hanging at the back of a moving bus. Now this is quite dangerous. Such practice should not be encouraged at any opportunity. A final picture comes from Lugbe in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. We see a section of the road washed off by erosion. Eyewitness reporters calling on the government to fix the road, which he says has been giving the residents great concern. Thank you for sending in those pictures. Know that you too can become an Eyewitness reporter for Channels Television. Today is World Environment Day. It's a day observed every year on June 5th to raise global awareness on taking positive environmental action to protect nature and planet Earth. The day was established in 1972 by the United Nations, after which the United States instituted the Earth Day. Now, each year, the emphasis of World Environment Day is placed on a certain topic of Earth crisis. This year, the theme is zero tolerance for the illegal wildlife trade. The United Nations Environment Programme says the growing illegal trade in wildlife products is eroding Earth's precious biodiversity and robbing us of our natural heritage. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to celebrate the World Environment Day, our correspondents in some states of the Federation monitored activities by state authorities aimed at raising awareness about the leading issue of the sustainability of our environment.
Its government across the country observed the World Environment Day as they seek to address peculiar environmental challenges confronting the people. In Ogun State, the government announced that it has concluded plans to host the first e-waste recycling and management facility to ensure effective waste management. The Commissioner for Environment also adds that the government plans to commence the polluter pays principle to ensure effective service delivery in waste collection and disposal.
As a rapidly developing state in terms of urbanization, huge pressure is being put on infrastructures. Increase in quantities and variabilities of waste generation without disposal practices that is far below best global practices.
In neighboring Oyo State, residents are calling on the government to help mitigate the effect of flooding in some parts of Ido local council area. It is one of the agrarian border communities in the state. The Environment Day brings a sad reminder of the largest rural markets in the local government. The Omiadio weekly market ravaged by rain and thunderstorms. Property worth millions of naira were destroyed. Some of the traders in the market who spoke to Channels TV appealed to the government to come to their aid. The rains have been coming down heavily in Ibadan and environs for days now, and it is beginning to take its toll on the residents. The caretaker chairman of the local government, Honorable Wahab Oladijo, explained that the local government will partner the state to give some succor to those who have suffered losses.
This thing is beyond everybody's imaginations. This is a natural disaster, which I want the federal government to come to our aid in the local government. This thing is beyond what the local government chairman can handle.
In Anambra State, southeast of Nigeria, a holy mass is observed to mark the World Environment Day. The state governor, Willie Obiano, discloses that Anambra State has got the attention of the World Bank for immediate intervention in the 12 erosion sites. Mr. Obiano says effort to resolve erosion concerns will commence in August. In the northwest Kaduna State, deforestation appears to be a major challenge in achieving a sustainable environment. At an event organized to mark the World Environment Day by the State Ministry of Environment, the Kaduna State government announces plans to plant 1.5 million trees.
We are conscious of the fact that trees constitute an important addition to the environment, and this year Kaduna State government is planting 1.5 million trees all across the state. We'll be engaging our women, our youths during this rainy season to plant these trees. Already made a lot of progress obtaining the seedlings from Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria and other sources.
With each passing year, there are renewed campaigns to preserve the environment, which, if heeded, would impact positively on the lives of Nigerians.
The federal government has provided details of how the $1 billion recommended by the United Nations Environment Programme will be spent for the cleanup of Ogoniland. The UNEP report had recommended the establishment of an Ogoniland Environmental Restoration Fund with an initial capitalization of $1 billion to cover the cleanup costs. In our next report, our correspondent Gloria Umezuke takes a look at details of the cleanup exercise.
Some 30 years ago, Bodo town here in Ogoni was a booming center for fish business, but today it's now a shadow of itself. Right now, anxiety is high over fresh actions by the government to restore the land. Hundreds of indigents thronged Ogoni from various communities where families drink water from wells contaminated over 900 times above World Health Organization guidelines. The official launch of the Ogoni cleanup exercise by the Vice President clearly brings huge relief to several years of clamor. $1 billion contributed by the oil industry and the government has been earmarked for this cleanup, which could take up to 25 to 30 years, according to the United Nations Environment Programme report. A breakdown of how the money will be spent shows that about $63 million will be spent on providing drinkable water to communities with contaminated water supply. About $611 million will be used for the cleanup of contaminated lands, $20 million for the treatment of contaminated sediments, over $25 million for mangrove restoration and rehabilitation, 44 million for the setting up of the Ogoniland Restoration Authority, and about $20 million for the monitoring and evaluation exercise.
The methodology for the cleanup will ensure job creation for young people. The agro-allied industry required for the processing of the agricultural produce will also be put in place in the course of the cleanup project.
We have provided you, the people of Ogoni, the government, the oil industry, and indeed the international community with a document that spells out what has happened, quite how drastic the consequences have been, how much worse they are compared to what many thought, and how long it will take to try and restore this.
Although government expects the people of Ogoniland to take responsibility for the success of the exercise, there are still more to be done.
Now the future lies before us. I pray for the best and I pray for peace, and I ask you once again, please be true and faithful to your words and your promises. We have to have a Nigeria, we have to have an Ogoniland before we can feed.
For a successful clean-up and restoration program in Ogoniland, it will be necessary to back this up with a sustainable socio-economic development framework that addresses the triple issues of poverty, of infrastructural decay, and representation.
The lengthy and costly cleanup of Ogoniland is viewed as a pilot with multiple approaches. The target is to replicate the cleanup exercise across the Niger Delta communities that have experienced its own share of oil spill. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television.
We're still in the Niger Delta. The Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade has asked those protesting the construction of a superhighway to embrace peace, as the benefits will outweigh immediate pains. Since the announcement and subsequent groundbreaking for the project, some residents of Ekume community and environmentalists have been lamenting what they say is the likely loss of their means of livelihood.
Pius Olori learned to hunt with his father in the rainforest. He goes hunting 2 or 3 times each week. Each wild boar he bags will earn him around 80,000 naira, or 30 euros at the market. But today, he's going home empty-handed.
We feel the forest for now is our helper, because we take good things from here in order to train our children to go to school.
Olori calls the Ikuri rainforest home. The forests in southeast Nigeria are some of the most diverse in the world. Over 1,500 known plant species are native to the region, and 77 of them may be endangered, as is much of the forest fauna, like the drill. This natural paradise is in danger. The local chief, Edwin Oga, shows us where they've already started logging. This is where the government hopes to build its new superhighway, a modern 6-lane road. The project's price tag comes in around 80 billion naira, or around 4 billion euros. Oga suspects the local governor isn't only interested in fixing the area's infrastructure.
So he's using the road as a leverage to do logging of the forest around. That is why he has refused to reroute the route away from the forest so that he can have access to the rich forest of, community forest.
Chief Edwin Oga has called the community together, including hunter Pius Olori. Together, they're planning a protest.
You want to do a superhighway, you need to consult the people. And he didn't do that. Rather, he decided to revoke our land using government instrument, to take all our land, and without any explanation. Not even he said he's taking the 20.4 kilometers for a superhighway. I wonder what kind of a superhighway that will take that kind of width. I've never seen it anywhere in the world.
Some others, however, have a different opinion about the superhighway. Commissioner for Information, Rosemary Achibong, admits that logging operations have already begun, and the Governor Ben Ayade explains the benefits of the project.
I'm very, very excited to see this opportunity coming to this area outside Parabon. So I'm very, very excited. So we are all the youth are very, very excited. We are happy.
All that has been done is just mapping out the area and trying to prepare the land, clearing not constructing.
The entire solid mineral deposit of Nigeria is warehoused around the middle belt of Nigeria: Kogi, Taraba, Nasarawa, Benue. The superhighway moves from the deep sea port straight into Benue State, which means for us to exploit our iron ore, for the solid mineral to really have real footing, the superhighway is the only way. It's the only way that connects you into the main heart where we have all the mines.
The citizens of Iguri want to use the opportunity to make their voices heard. They continue their fight against the superhighway. They hope the authorities will listen and fix existing roads instead of spending billions on a new highway that could destroy the region's last rainforest.
When the News at 10 returns, more on our focus on World Environment Day. I'll be joined on the News at 10 by Enviro strategist Michael Nweke. Also, the President takes 10 days off on medical rest. Please join us again.